Hello, my friends. This is the WDW Fan Show. I'm joined by Kurt, Jess, John, Lottie, Darlene. I'm Stuart, and we're going to get into a whole bunch of stuff tonight. I just want to let everybody know before we start with Jess and the news. At the end of the show, I'm going to have probably the most major announcement I've ever made on this show. So please make sure you stay tuned all the way through, no matter how good or bad you think the show is, because you won't want to miss the news. All right, Jess, take it away. Oh,
Hello,
and happy Veterans Day
everybody.
to everybody who's celebrating.
Yes, happy Veterans Day.
Yes.
All right, so Jollywood Nights and Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party have all started at Walt Disney World. There are fun treats, shows, and photo opportunities at both parks. And Magic Kingdom has a show on party and non-party nights at the castle at 6:15 p.m., where Anna, Elsa, Olaf, and Kristoff ring in the season. The show also happens at 8:15 on party nights as well. Typhoon Lagoon has closed temporarily and Blizzard Beach is now open. You will be able to use your Magic Band Plus at Disney Springs for the Christmas tree stroll, starting now through December 30th. There are over 20 themed Christmas trees, and 16 of them have Magic Band Plus interactions. The stroll is free, the Magic Band is not. At the D23 event in Brazil, it was announced that 15 villains are being used as inspiration for the Villains Land in Magic Kingdom. They also shared a Moana float will be added to the Starlight Parade at Magic Kingdom in 2025. And they also have concept art up for the Villains Land, the Moana float, all of the floats, a lot of the floats at the Starlight Parade. And they also have concept art for the Pirates of the Caribbean Lounge. So check all of that out. Very exciting. And don't forget, Big Thunder Mountain is going to close for refurbishment on January 6th, 2025, and will set to open with a little bit of new magic in 2026. And as we're talking about closures in Animal Kingdom, Triceratops Spin, Fossil Fun Games, and Chester and Hester's Dinosaur Treasures will all close permanently on January 13th, 2025. A lot of items have been removed from restaurants this week to make way for holiday items. Make sure you check menus before you go to your favorite restaurants, as the menus change often. A lot of the times, there are holiday themed desserts added at this time of year, so check those out too. A lot of new movies and shows were announced at the D23 Brazil event, including Andor 2, and a look at a few of the new movies coming out, including Mufasa, that will be out in December. Don't miss the gingerbread houses that have gone up in a lot of the deluxe resorts at Grand Floridian. Animal Kingdom Lodge will have a giraffe that starts at the end of the month. Beach Club Resort, Boardwalk Inn, and Contemporary all have gingerbread houses. And don't forget to check park hours before planning your trip. Check again once you arrive to see if they've changed because they do. And the Walt Disney World area is expecting a cold front to pass through this week, bringing the temperatures into the 70s and a cooler weekend lows into the 50s. Be prepared with layers. And that's the latest Disney news straight to you from Central Florida. Back to you, Stuart.
All right, thank you, Jess. Appreciate you doing the news again. As always, great news. Have a great
Thank you so
rest of
much.
your week.
Thank you and see you real soon.
Bye, Jess.
Bye
Great.
bye.
Thank you.
Now, I don't know the name of the hurricane, but there's another hurricane that's supposed to come into the Gulf, but it's a long way off. I don't think it's supposed to impact Central Florida at all, or Florida even. It might. So just if you're traveling down here, just keep your eyes out. This won't happen until sometime next week. We're a good week away from anything happening, if it does at all. But this time of the year, the good news is there's cold fronts that push things down, so it may not happen. Anyway, uh, this week we're we're going to talk about the order in which you should go to the parks if you're coming down here on a Disney vacation, and that could be crucial and critical to your fun times or magical times. It could make or break your entire trip. We all have our own strategies. Some of them good, some maybe not so good, but you've got to do what just not only works for you, but works in your favor. A lot of people will come down here. They'll arrive on property, let's say on Friday night. They're going to go to the parks on Saturday. And what's the first park they want to go to? Magic Kingdom. Why? Because everybody wants to go to Magic Kingdom, see the castle, the princesses. But is that the right choice? Well, we're going to get into that tonight. Kurt, why don't you start us off by telling us where you would go and why on your first day down here? Well, actually, a lot goes into this because it depends on what day you come down here, what your first day is. So
That's what I was going
let's do
to
it this
say.
way. If you come down here on a weekend, what's the first park you would pick?
Oh man, you put me on the line there. I think it depends on the day that I'm coming down on. We made the mistake one time of hitting Epcot on Saturday, the first day. My wife and I went down a day early before my kids could come down.
Mhm.
And we went down on the Saturday, we walked, I think, 12 miles on that first day. So then the next day, not so good. So I'll get into more of that later, but I would not repeat that performance. I would probably go to like the probably like Disney Hollywood Studios on that first day on like a Sunday. Kind of hard though because they are very busy.
Mhm.
So, but I would start light.
Okay, John, how about you? If coming down on a weekend, where are you going first?
Well, there's a couple of factors that I think about, and one of them is, first of all, what time are you coming in?
Mhm.
So, and the reason I say that is depending on the type of ticket you have, you may not want to go to any park the first day you come in. So if you're not coming in early in the day and you don't have an annual pass and you're not staying for a long time where incremental days aren't quite as expensive, I would recommend not going to a park that first day because you're not going to get your money's worth. You have to take a look at how long you're going to be there, how much you want to see.
Mhm.
But you know, I would not recommend spending $179 to get into a park if you're not going to be able to get into the park until 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yep, totally agree.
I didn't know that was an option. I was told what park am I going to? Good call.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
No, I'm sorry,
it all
John. I just realized something.
depends.
John, I'm sorry to cut you. I just noticed something. Kurt, why in God's name are you wearing a winter coat inside?
It is cold in my house. Okay, the air conditioner, or I'm sorry, the heater has not been turned on. So it's like 63 degrees in this house right now. So that's why I've got my.
I may live in Florida, but 63 degrees for me would be shorts and a t-shirt outside.
63 degrees for
right
me
now.
would be a jacket.
Anyway, I'm sorry, John.
I've got a sweatshirt on at 70 degrees in my house. Yeah, so that would be one thing I'd look at. The other thing that I'd look at on the first day is if you're staying on property, what resort or what park is close to your resort? Are you staying
Good
at Magic Kingdom resort? Are you staying at an Epcot resort? Are you staying at the Animal Kingdom Lodge? So if you do want to go to a park on that first day and it's not a full day, you might want to go to the one close to your resort because you might get the most time. You also have to take a look and see how long that park is open. That's the other thing to be careful of on your first day. If you're trying to maximize your time, don't go to a park that's closing at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock that day. So
Now, keep in mind this is all good information, and this can apply to any day. But if you're arriving on a weekend and going on a weekend, we want to, there are certain parks you absolutely want to stay away from.
well, I don't always do that though. I mean, when I have an annual pass, there is not necessarily a park I won't go to on a weekend. Not necessarily.
Yeah, well, that's good. But if you're a first-time visitor or you're coming once a year,
Okay, question number 2 though is how many days are we going? So like
Just
if
for
you're only
argument's
going
sake, let's
4
say
days,
5.
or are you going 5 days?
Let's say 5 for argument's sake.
5 days.
Or even 4, just to make so you want at least one for each park. Let's say
Right.
let's do it that way.
That makes it simple.
All right. Anyway, Lottie.
Um, so for me, it depends on who I'm traveling with,
Mhm.
right? If I'm coming down with the kids, they are not going to let me rest until they get to Magic Kingdom. And so I might, just suck it up and go to the most crowded park. But if I'm with friends, it's highly likely that I'm going to do Epcot or um, Animal Kingdom first. Uh, Usually a slower day, especially if I'm there race weekend. I want fewer steps on my toes. So I'm going to pick a park that I won't have to be on my feet for long periods of time or do a lot of walking in. I
Wait,
can rel-
which park was that with not a lot of walking?
Well, that's all of them, but
Mhm.
I tend to do laps around World Showcase if I'm at Epcot, right?
Yeah,
So
same here.
it's more
That was
more
our 12 miles in one day. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Especially if food and wine is going on. I'm doing laps around World Showcase.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Darlene.
So, I was thinking about this, and over the weekend, it's the same as it was years and years ago. If we're coming in, the first park we hit is Magic Kingdom, always, always and forever. It does not matter.
Regardless of how crowded it is, no matter what.
That has always been since I was a little girl. I mean, the first time I came down here, it was 1980. Nothing else was open. It was Magic Kingdom. When I brought her down for the first time, she wanted to go to Magic Kingdom first, and every single trip after that, it was always Magic Kingdom. And
You know,
they do the same thing now. Magic Kingdom's first.
Yeah. See, we always try to plan our trips where we didn't start on the weekend, but if we did, oh boy, I see the draw to Magic Kingdom. I understand most people want to go there first. I- If I'm coming down and I'm arriving on a Saturday, and that's going to be the day where my first day in the parks is a Saturday, or even a Sunday. Depending on what's going on, if food and wine is going on, I would not go to Epcot. But otherwise, if there's no festivals or anything drawing people into Epcot, I would go to Epcot the first day. That being said, if there is a festival going on, oh boy, it's like playing Russian roulette. All the parks are going to be crowded on the weekend. So if you know how to maneuver the parks, I don't see anything wrong with going to Magic Kingdom first. If it's your first trip down here, I think you would be better off, and this is for first timers only, getting to the parks as early as you possibly can. Like get there right before opening, or be online by the gates to get through security right before opening, and go to Hollywood Studios first. Do as much as you can, as quickly as you can, regardless of whether you're getting lightning lanes or not, and then get out of that park.
Yeah. I would also say though that if it's the family's first time, they've got kids, they're probably gonna a lot of those kids are gonna want to go to Magic Kingdom
I agree.
the
I
first day.
agree. I think, like Lottie said, it would be a really hard sell to convince your kids not to go to Magic Kingdom the first day you're there. If you're a persuasive parent and you can avoid Magic Kingdom on your first day, and it depends on when you go during the year. If you're going in September, your kids are preschoolers, so it doesn't matter. You're not taking them out of school. I think you'd be okay at Magic Kingdom if it's after Labor Day, because everybody's back in school then. And that's between the best time to go to Disney World, even though there's no good time to go to Disney World anymore in terms of crowds. Although there are less this year than last year, September would be my best bet, notwithstanding any Run Disney event that may or may not be going on.
But like you say though, if you can get there before the park opens, and anymore, it's not getting there right before the park opens. I mean, you can be there an hour before the park opens and get in through the turnstiles. You
Mhm.
just can't get out to the attractions
Right.
until the stated early opening if you're on the resort, if staying at the resort, or the regular opening time. But either way, if you get there and you're in the park before the opening time, that first 2 to 3 hours in the park can be so relaxing and quiet, and you can get so much done
Mhm. Yep,
just
absolutely.
just by doing that. And, from a sanity perspective, you could do it at Magic Kingdom or any
Mhm.
of the parks and get a lot done and, not have to deal with the crowds.
Yep.
Quite honestly, we bookend it. We do the Magic Kingdom on the first day, and we do the Magic Kingdom again on the last day. And if we miss something on the first day, we make sure we hit it early on the last day.
We used to do that too, Kurt, but we would do that because we usually start our vacations off at the beginning of a week and then go through the next weekend. So
Right. No, this is
we'd
for
have
we do
already
5 days.
done, right. Our trips usually were, I want to say, about 7 days. So we would spend 2 days in, and I'm going back years. We would spend 2 days in Magic Kingdom, 2 days in Epcot, 2 days in Hollywood Studios, and 1 day at Animal Kingdom. That's usually how we did it. And then we would circle. We always got the park hopper, so we would circle back to parks where we didn't get things done. We would take advantage of the then late magic hours, which were really late. So there was more of an opportunity back then than there is now to do certain things. It's not saying that there's not, there is, but I think my strategy, if I were living someplace other than Florida now, would be different than it was when I lived, than it was back then. I think I would work things differently. I would absolutely get the park hopper because we
Not
always took
necessary.
advantage of it. Yeah, it's
See, no, that's funny. That's a matter of choice because
yes, it is.
we got the park hopper last time, and it almost felt forced. We have to go to another park now.
I never felt
You
that
might
way.
not want to, but because you paid that extra $75 or $100, you had to at least one night go to an extra park because you paid for it.
I never felt well back then. It was a lot cheaper, but I never felt that way with the park hopper. I always felt that if we had certain goals each day. We knew we were going to spend 2 days in each park except Animal Kingdom, and if we got through it and wanted to do something else, we just did it. If we didn't and we missed using the park hopper that day, so be it.
I'm just getting. I think we did it 2 days out of 5 the last time, and it felt forced that you had to go to a different
It
park instead
only
of wanting
feels
to just
forced if
go
you
back to
make
the same
yourself
park.
feel forced.
Well, no, it's just you can do so much by not park hopping and go back to the same park.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but because you purchased the park hopper doesn't mean you have to use it and use it when you think you do.
Yeah,
I
you do.
think
You bought 5 of them.
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead,
If you
Lottie.
bought 5 of them, yeah, you do. Y'all park
Yeah.
hopping today. I bought 5 park hoppers. You are going to another park whether you
Thank
want
you.
to or not.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And there's so much you could do. If you open your day in a park and then you go back and take a break, you can go back to that same park because there's something at well, except for Animal Kingdom, there's something at every park that you're going to want to see at night. And depending on when you're doing Animal Kingdom, it might be nice to have a break on that day because you just.
How is it now with the park hopper? Do you have to purchase it for every day, or can you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't purchase a one-day park hopper. It's the
Yeah.
entire time. And it's like $80 now, isn't it? Something like that.
It is. The only time I've purchased park hopper for all 5 of us is the days like in February where we knew we were only going to have 1 day at the parks, and so we got a park hopper because we had to get a flight back home the next day after a cruise. So we park hopped. But anytime I'm traveling with the kids, it's 1 park per day because
That's what we do.
yeah, it's just it costs too much for park hopper for kids to be like, well, you know what? I think I want to stay at Epcot today.
Like I said, when I used the park hopper back, I'm going back years. It was not very expensive to add it on.
Right. It was like what I think 40 or
$35 when it
$50.
first came out. It wasn't.
Yeah,
that
it
bad.
wasn't much.
Yeah, it wasn't much.
I don't know how much it is now because I'm here.
It's like
I think
$80.
it's 80.
80, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
guess it would depend on how many days you're coming here on vacation. If you're coming here and when you're coming on vacation, if you're coming here in July or August and you're only spending 4 days here, I would not purchase a park hopper at all. If you're coming at a less busy time and you can jump around and you expect you're going to jump around, then go for it.
See, I know my family that was just here, they were only here 2 days before the cruise. So
So that's
they,
another thing. Yeah,
3 days, 3 days before the cruise. I'm sorry. So they bought the park hopper, but they did waste a day going to Magic Kingdom the first day. Then they did Magic Kingdom in the morning, Animal in the afternoon, Hollywood in the morning, and then, or no, Epcot in the afternoon. I'm sorry. And then Animal in the morning and Hollywood at night on the next night. So,
Mm.
and then they use their fifth park as Disney Springs on Saturday.
yeah, um,
But they had to do it that way because of the cruise. They didn't
right.
have time to go
No,
back.
I get it. If you're only spending a couple of days here and you want to see more than 2 parks in those 2 days, be very careful at the time. You have to know what's going on in the parks each day. Are
Mhm.
there any special events? What the crowd levels are for that time of year. That's vital. If it's a busier time of year, like if you came down here after Thanksgiving, like somewhere between Thanksgiving and Christmas time, good luck to you if you get a park hopper if you're here for 2 days, because you're not going to get much done anywhere. Just um, concentrate on the one park you plan on being on for that day and get as much done as you possibly can with lightning lanes if necessary.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So the money that you're paying for that park hopper pass is the money that you're paying now instead for the lightning lane pass.
yeah. Yeah. I'd like to know who the people are that are purchasing this premium lightning lane that I'm
Lottie and
not
her
gonna-
family. Hey.
I am not going to get started on that this week. I'm not going to say anything else because I have certain opinions of it
That was
and why
another
they're
show.
doing it, and I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Well, okay, so I do want to add what Charlotte's opinion was of this. Charlotte is 10, right? And so I told her about it, and she says, this is ridiculous. They spent all that money to make the queues nice, and then they want to charge you to skip it. This is so unfair. She wants to go through the queues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With me, I don't have to buy it.
I
You know
can,
what? Charlotte's absolutely right.
I asked my family when they were here what they thought of that, and they said they think it's absolutely unnecessary to have something like that, especially when you offer the lightning lane.
I will refer to, and I don't remember the joke completely or at all. I mean, I remember the gist of the joke. It was on Saturday Night Live during the news update, and they mentioned the cost for the premium pass at Magic
Oh,
Kingdom.
did they?
Yes, and you know what? Use the handicap pass. It's a lot cheaper. No, I'm not recommending that, but that was the joke. Like why buy it when you can use the DAS pass?
Good luck. Good luck
Yeah, I
getting
know.
the DAS pass.
I know they're cracking down on that, and
Big time.
rightfully so.
And rightfully so is right. Yes.
Yeah. So, let's say you show up on a Monday. Where are you going first? Are we still going to Magic Kingdom?
No, that's an Epcot day. It's a quiet day.
It's
Epcot
your first
is
day.
no
Correct. It's your first
now
day
that
at
I
the
say
park.
that,
First day at the park.
again, it's a matter of how do you want to do it and what kind of shape are you in and everything else. So I gave this to my son. I gave this whole thing, set it up to him. I go, what order should you go in? And his response to me was Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, Disney Hollywood Studios, and then Epcot. I go, okay, why did you pick them in that order? He said, medium, heavy, light, heavy. A medium walking day, a heavy walking day, a light walking day at Disney Hollywood Studios, and a heavy walking day over at Epcot. And he wanted to do it that way because he knows sometimes we get done with that second day where we're over at Epcot and he's absolutely exhausted. His legs are killing him. Got to get out that leg massager and work the kinks out of the legs. So
Well,
it's
yeah.
all a matter of when are you showing up and what kind of shape are you in as to what you're actually going to want to do with it.
Well, you know what they say, no pain, no gain. All right, John, what would you do? 4 days, you're starting on a Monday.
To me, it doesn't, for the way that we tour, the way that we travel, it doesn't matter what day we get there.
All right, put
We
yourself
do,
in someone else's shoes.
yeah,
Put
what?
yourself
Well,
in someone who comes down once or twice a year.
but I still think,
John, those are your shoes.
well, you could get two families in my shoes. It,
Yeah.
I still think that families are going to want to visit Magic Kingdom first. Their kids are going to want to visit Magic Kingdom by and large first. And if you're going as two adults and you don't have kids with you, then maybe you do want to try something different, Hollywood Studios or Epcot or even Animal Kingdom. But families, I think, are going to go to Magic Kingdom first.
Yeah, I agree.
But again, I
don't agree with your strategy, but I agree with what you're saying.
yeah, well, but I don't know how you strategize.
All right, when you get to me out, when
You
we
can't
get there, I'll let
strategize
you
with
know.
kids. Kids don't want to hear what your strategy
Yeah,
is.
I know. You're right. Lottie, how would you do it? I think I know where you're going, but
I mean,
floor is yours.
with kids, I'm going to Magic Kingdom. I just can't get around it because I don't want to hear them complaining all day why we aren't at Magic Kingdom.
Mhm.
So that's where we're going. If I'm out with friends, Monday is, I mean, any other park, Hollywood Studios, Epcot. I just think the days closest to the weekend are probably going to be more crowded for Magic Kingdom, right? Magic Kingdom normally would be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday park, I think, just to avoid some of the crowds. But if I'm with the kids, whatever day we get there, that's the day we're going to Magic Kingdom.
Yeah. Darlene.
Well, you guys know my answer is going to be if it's coming with the family, it's magic, magic, magic. But I mean, I've done it before. A friend of mine didn't want to go to Magic Kingdom. She wanted to hit a park she hadn't been to, and it was Animal Kingdom.
Mhm.
But it's always magic for me.
Well, I'll tell you what we did when my kids were small. When we came with my kids, didn't matter whether it was small, big, or not. It was always Magic Kingdom first, regardless of the day we got here. It's usually on a Monday. Then it was Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom, and then we would go back and do another day in some of the other parks. However, today, knowing what the calendars have been lately, and it's not perfect. It's absolutely not perfect. I would go to Animal Kingdom on Monday, and I know the kids are not going to allow you to do that. I know that. I would go to Animal Kingdom first on a Monday. I would go to Magic Kingdom on a Tuesday unless the park closes early, and right now they are because of the Christmas parties. I would go to Epcot on Wednesday, and then I would go to Hollywood Studios on Thursday. It's not perfect. You're going to hit crowds. I would get there when the park opens, do as much as you can, take a break, and go back at night or later in the day. That's what I would do. Let the dog out. Do it, Bernie.
Who let the dog out? Oh, that was
Yeah.
Stuart.
And she's gone. You know, I think everybody's going to, no matter what day you get there, if you have children, and a lot of adults are going to want to go to Magic Kingdom first. So if you're going to do that, and I think most of the audience out there will do that, you got to know what you got to have a strategy. You've got to know what you're doing, when you're doing it, and how you're doing it. If you go into the park and say, "Here I am," bye-bye, you're not going to have a good day.
Well, at least have, and we've said this before, at least have your expectations set ahead of time. So knowing what time you're getting into the park, having some sense of what the crowds are going to be like, and you can look different places to get an idea of crowd levels, know what attractions you want to do, make the decision about whether you do or don't want to use Lightning Lane, make your reservation for the park ahead of time if you need to. If you've got day specific reservations for your park tickets, you don't have to reserve you still have to pick a park. Know what attractions you want to get on, know what the waits are likely going to be. So if you are informed and you're managing your expectations, you can have a good time because you know what to expect and you're better prepared for it.
John, Darlene knows this as well as I do. There are so many people that show up at the parks that have never been here before, or maybe they've been here once and they have no clue what they're doing. None, zero.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that the important thing is to be prepared. So you're listening to podcasts and you're doing some planning. The fact you're listening to a podcast maybe means you are doing that kind of planning. So
Right.
be prepared and think about these things. Somebody that doesn't do any of that isn't going to be listening in the first place. So.
Correct. You're absolutely right. People who are tuning into the show, watching the show, those are the ones that want to get an idea of what they need to do and how they need to do it, where those who buy the tickets, and they show up and maybe they're going on one of those VIP tours, they're expecting everybody else to help them have a good time rather than make their own good time.
You can't help somebody who is just going to show up and not even think about it ahead of time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I have to admit, when I was there watching the family, there were probably at the end of Mickey's Runaway Railway 7 VIPs waiting with the strollers.
Yeah, the VIP tours within each park are increasing exponentially.
Mm-hmm. I
It's
see
a
more and
moneymaker
more.
for Disney. Yep, it's a moneymaker for them. They're not
Mm-hmm.
going to turn these people away. It's unfair to those who do not have what they have to do this, or don't want to mortgage their future for a Disney trip. And it's unfortunate.
I wonder.
Disney's created a class system, like it or not.
I wonder what the costs of those tours are against the new Lightning Lane Pass.
Oh, I don't know. That I don't know. I know they have to pay for park admission separately from what the tour costs, and you have to guarantee a minimum number of people. I think there's also a maximum number as well.
There
Hold
is.
on. I got the prices here.
It's about 1,000 or so per person, I think.
Well, it says anywhere from 450 to 900 per hour.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, that's right. It's per hour.
Based off the size of your
It depends
sure.
on the minimum booking of 7 hours.
That's an exorbitant amount. And you're paying for park admission on top of that. But I guess if you can afford the VIP tour, the park admission is peanuts.
So that's at least $1,100.
Yeah. Yep.
If you said $400.
Right. If you go with the bottom number.
For what, a minimum of how many hours?
7.
7.
Yeah, that's more than
No,
So
Kurt,
it's
4 times 7. That's what is it?
28.
28.
Oh, 2,800. I'm sorry.
$2,800.
But that can be up to 10 people, can it?
It can, but it's per person that has to pay this, not for the whole group.
No. For the group,
It's a
for the
whole-
tour group, that's the price per hour for the tour group.
I thought it was for each individual.
No, that's for the tour group for up to X number of people.
Yeah, that's why I asked what the cost would be.
I'll take your word for it because I see you're looking it up. I'm not.
Close. It's got to be pretty close. Like if you get the Lightning Lane Pass, like for a family of 5, that's $2,000.
Yeah. Yep.
450 to 900 per hour, minimum of 7 hours, like she said. And hang on, where was that?
There's pre-planning by VIP. There's priority access to rides and shows, specialty dining reservations, assistance with park transportation, the ability to visit multiple parks in one day, dining arrangements drop off at your
So-
dining
So
location.
basically, what we're telling our audience is take the VIP tour, and then you don't have to worry about planning your days in the parks.
Mhm.
I'm kidding. I know there are a lot of people out there that won't spend
Well-
the money or do not have the money to spend to do that. And
They're
for
also
them,
minivanning you back and forth between each of the parks. They're
yeah, all right,
taking
well,
you through a
let's get
back
back on
entrance.
topic, guys. I think we've said enough
Yeah.
about this. Is there anything you guys would do in terms of? I know it's if you're coming in the summertime. I don't. Then it doesn't matter what park you go to on what day. You know, it's like let your kids pick. You know, they're all going to be crowded, and then you just have to do your research. If you're coming in an off, when I say off time, a less crowded time. If you're hell bent on going to Magic Kingdom first, and I think most people probably are, do your research. If you are flexible, if you're not coming with kids and you're flexible, look at the crowd calendars. There's a lot out there. There are a lot of good sites which will give you insight as to what parks for that time of year based on previous history where you might want to go. I know it gets a little more difficult after 2020, but I think the last couple of years are a good indication. If you look at 22 to present time, I think it's a good indication of how the parks are attendance wise during each month of the year and each week during that month.
And look at like we were saying earlier, look at the park hours because they can vary quite a bit.
Yeah.
Check to see whether there are any hard ticketed or special events at a given park. So when I was down there at the end of October, when there was Mickey's Not So Scary, the Magic Kingdom would be closing to regular guests at 6 p.m.
And it still continues with a Christmas party.
And the very merry as well. So look to see if there are special events going on. If you're staying on property, look to see what parks have early entry. That extra half hour can gain you a lot if you're staying on property. And you had talked about the summertime. Going to the parks early in the summertime is another big benefit.
Absolutely.
Not only do you get to do a lot, but if you avoid the parks in the middle of the day when the heat is the worst, you're going to be that much more sane when you're done with your trip.
Yeah. Likewise, if you're staying at a deluxe resort or a DVC resort, certain resorts have extra magic hours at night for an extra hour. So, like Epcot happens to be on Monday they're open late from 9 to 10. Now, the downfall of all of that is all the food is closed. By 9 o'clock, it's all closed. So, no grabbing snacks anywhere. Sorry.
Yeah. Yep. If somebody's coming down during, the Halloween shows or extra ticket event are going on, or the Christmas ticket event, I think it's if you're getting the park hopper, only if you're getting the park hopper, I think it's great to go to the Magic Kingdom on those days, leave the park, go someplace else. As long as you don't have to see the fireworks that night. If you can do the Magic Kingdom another night and go back and see the fireworks another night, that's the perfect thing to do because the Magic Kingdom will not be as crowded on the days that it's open from morning until its normal closing time.
And what you're saying is exactly what the Florida residents are being told on the news. It's broadcast on the news all over the place. They talk about it like go on a day where you could just enjoy yourself during the day if you're staying down there, if you're living down there, because the parks won't be as crowded because of the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween.
Absolutely.
Not So Scary Halloween party or Mickey's Very Merry Christmas party going on.
Yep. Yeah. Anybody else have any more strategy they'd like to impart on our listeners / viewers?
Again, don't burn yourself out early. Sorry.
All right, Darlene?
Just make sure like if you're planning on coming down here like this last week of food and wine and you want to hit the Christmas decorations and that, like they said, watch those times for Magic Kingdom with the parties. There's more parties now because we're rolling into Magic Kingdom. But if you want to make sure you get your product or the food that you wanted to try, hit those kiosks before they run out of, a specific food or a beverage that you want.
Yep. And I don't know when the Hollywood Studios party start, but they start soon. If I'm not
Jolly
mistaken.
Nights,
Yeah.
yeah, those are
That's
starting
another
really
ticketed
soon.
event. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember what date that is. Let me see if I can find it.
Well, while we're waiting for Darlene, I want to ask you guys something. Have you guys paid any attention to the Food and Wine music that performers that have been scheduled at Epcot?
No.
God, I've heard this from several people, and it's all disappointment. And they're all saying the same thing. They think there were budget cuts because they're not getting and I think it might be because the acts that they were getting in previous years are asking for too much, as opposed to there being budget cuts. I think that's more likely what's going on.
Yeah.
Or
But
they aged out and can't go anymore.
I'm sorry?
Or they aged out and they just can't perform anymore.
Yeah,
That could be.
Herman's Hermits just can't get out there
Yeah.
again every night.
Yep. You know, I think it's more that they're trying to change things up, and some of the performers have outpriced themselves for Epcot. I also think as the younger generations are getting a little older, they've got to appease them a little more by giving them something something I necessarily wouldn't know or care to see, and that's okay.
Well, I still see a lot of acts that I've seen there before.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. They try to have enough for each age group.
Yeah.
But I think it's hard. I think some performers have just outpriced themselves. I don't think it's a matter of them having budget cuts there. They may have. I'm sure there's a price that they won't commit beyond for certain performers, but
I
it
think
is
Taylor
what it
Swift
is.
is just waiting for her application or for her invite.
Darlene,
sure
do you
she's
have
coming.
an answer for us?
I do. They actually
No.
started on Saturday, November 9th, and will end on
Mhm.
December 21st.
So they started last Saturday.
Yes, this
Saturday.
past Saturday. Yes.
Okay. All right. Anybody else want to mention anything before we end this and I make that big announcement?
I was just going to comment on concerts. I was there for both nights of the first night of Boys to Men, and it was jam packed.
They're
That's
always
what I
jam
heard.
packed.
Yeah.
Most shows there are jam packed. We saw they had a Motown review last year. They came back this year, and I was sorry I couldn't see them this year because
Yeah.
they put on a great show.
Was
We're
Sheila
planning-
E. back again this year?
No,
Yes.
She
Sheila E.?
rocked.
not during the Food and Wine. She was there during the
Flower and Garden.
Flower and Garden.
Flower
Yeah,
Garden.
Yeah.
yeah. she's
I know
great.
the last
The
couple
Hard and
shows
Rock.
are Smash
Yes,
Mouth
that's
and
right.
98 Degrees.
Smash Mouth has a new singer.
Well, they do because the lead singer passed away. God
Yeah,
rest
but
him.
he's been gone for a while.
Yeah. Rest
Yeah,
in
he's
peace.
been off for a while.
I went to see Blood, Sweat, and Tears a year or two ago,
They
and
were
there wasn't a single member from the original group. It's like, why are you? It was. I'm not going to say they were good. I'm not going to say they were bad, but I wish I hadn't gone.
I think
Anyway.
you just
Anyway, let me get on to the announcement. This is not something I came to decide to do lightly. It's something that I decided months ago, and I'd say about 9 or 10 months ago. I started thinking about it over a year ago, but really thinking about it 9 or 10 months ago. And by the beginning of the summer, I had made up my mind, and I will be departing WDW Fan Zone and this podcast or show, whatever you want to call it, at the end of February, the latest the end of February of 2025. I'm not going to get into details as to why. Everything's fine. It's time for me to go out to move on to greener pastures or other, well, not necessarily greener pastures, but it's just time for me to move on to something else. I don't know if I'm going to do something else as far as the podcast or show or something on YouTube in the future. I'd like to. It won't be Disney, I can tell you that. But somewhere down the road, I'll give you my reasons why. Right now, it's just It was my decision alone, and I'm at peace with it. And I will be here until probably the end of February. And that's that. All right. So now that I left you with that news, and people out there going, yeah, good riddance, bye. The show will continue.
Nobody here is saying that.
The show will continue. There'll be further information about that in the future. It just will continue without moi. So until next time, everybody, be yourself, be safe. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
See you real soon.
Have a magical night. Stay safe. And thank you for your service, veterans. We greatly appreciate you. And thank you for everyone that has served our country in the past.
Well, my last trip down to Disney World just a little over a week ago, I was seeing some of the attractions that I know are going to be closing soon, and one of them was "It's Tough to Be a Bug." So I'm going to leave everyone with the best thing about us, you can't live without us, so it's tough to be a bug. So we hope that didn't bug you too much, but we do hope that you come back next week. Thanks for being here, and as Darlene just said, thank you to all our veterans. Have a good night.